Hello class, this is the second content lesson for Begin Again, where we are talking about fertility, Pasanka, and the Russian Revolution. Today though, we are talking about Easter and appropriation. Rabbits don't lay eggs, and how are they part of Easter? So our big question is, what do eggs and bunnies have to do with Easter? And it gets a little complicated. So the relevance between eggs, bunnies, and Easter. Easter happens in the spring. It's one of the revolving religious holidays that isn't at the same time every year, but it depends upon when the certain full moons fall, and it has to do with the spring equinox. The spring equinox is the beginning of the fertile season. The equinox, the sun and the moon are equal in the sky. The days begin to become longer. And as we learned yesterday in the fertility lesson, the longer length of the day and the brighter light and the warmer temperatures all increase fertility. And this is why the sun and the moon are also fertility symbols, and they are fertility symbols all over the world. Sunlight increases fertility, and the moon regulates the cycles of fertility. The egg itself is a fertility symbol. It's one of the most obvious fertility symbols that there are. When you open up the egg, you have the yolk, which is bright yellow, and it resembles the sun. The sun across the world is usually associated with males. And then if you put the words together, the sun equals the sun, S-O-N, as in child of, and that has to do with Easter and the religious holiday. And here we have this absolutely fantastic graphic of the yolk and the white, hard-boiled of course, so it looks like clouds, and it's sailing through space towards the sun. Bunnies are also fertility symbols because bunnies are an animal that very rapidly reproduces. They have large litters with a high rate of success, and they can begin reproducing when they are very young. The moon is a fertility symbol because of the cycles of the moon as it goes away and then gets full each month, and how the cycles of females are related to that. So across the world in cultures, the moon is seen to be female. And the bunnies in the moon, this is where we have to really kind of stretch our minds because it's not what we see from our part of the world. We see the man in the moon, if you can see it instead, but the bunny in the moon is seen on the other side of the world, and the craters appear to be the standing up rabbit. There's his ears and his head and his little bunny arm and his bunny body and leg and his tail. And then he has got a cube or a basket or something here. And it looks like he's putting something into the basket, or she's putting something into the basket. So how this all got tied up, the egg is the sun, the bunny's the moon, and then you had Easter, which is a European pre-Christian spring fertility holiday that happened every year, and over here you have an illustration of that, and you notice around her in the air flying, not only does she have her wand of flowers and you have little cupids, but you have our friend the crane from Conception in Japan, remember? And here is the rabbit, which was one of her symbols. So that word became appropriated to Easter, and the rabbit became the Easter bunny, and the egg became the Easter egg. And then it was assimilated because it combined the Christian holiday of rebirth that we know as Easter with the existing fertility festival in pre-Christian Europe, because it's easier for people to change when they change to something that they're already familiar with. So that way they could take some of their practices that they did already, like associating eggs and rabbits with this festival, and associate them with the religion as well. And that's the assimilation. It was like this gradual combining of it. You still kept those fertility associations, but it now also became a religious holiday. So what about the chocolate? Okay, well, chocolate is an aphrodisiac. Aphrodisiacs are foods that help with fertility because they get you in the mood. They trigger hormones. And also, you can see over here the very popular symbol that I'm sure you recognize, and that is why that symbol is a rabbit, because it's associated with fertility in females. And then you put all of the eggs and your chocolate in a basket, which is symbolic of being a nest. And then the bunny delivers it at nighttime. And then you have it Easter morning. So for your assignment, and there are lots of other Easter traditions, you just need your Chromebook for this. You are going to go to the linked Wikipedia page, and you're going to scroll down to Pages in Easter Traditions. Choose one that you're interested in. A lot of these have names that are based in other cultures, so the words look a little different. But click on them, look at them, and create a Google slide that includes the tradition you picked, what it is, a description of it, where in the world it is practiced, and a picture of the tradition. And over here on the right, you have a picture from Leicestershire in England, and it is Bottle Kicking Day. And this is an Easter tradition that happens on Easter Monday. And it revolves around this huge herd of people and a bottle. And they kick the bottle around, think like a soccer ball. And then during this time, they also eat hare pie. Hare is another word for rabbit. And here you see the man with the staff with the rabbit on it, and the lady with a big basket of hare pie, which is like a piece of bread that's stuffed with a savory rabbit pie. It's really, really tasty. I've had that. Okay? So let's look at that page real quick. This is the page you're looking at. It says category Easter traditions. There are subcategories, but that's not enough. Slide down to pages in Easter traditions, and you have 66 choices. Some of them you might be very familiar with, and some of them you will not be familiar with. Okay? So that's what you do.